What's going on, everyone? So D'Angelo Russell is more likely than not going to be traded at some point this season. He's an expiring contract. He'll be more valuable once you get to the trade deadline. You're going to get some teams that are kind of like, we don't want to be good, and we are good, that are kind of the surprise teams, and they're just going to be like, let's unload some guys. You're going to get teams that thought they were going to be good, that aren't good, that are like, let's unload some guys. And you just kind of get those middle-of-the-pack teams or guys wanting out or whatever, right? And D'Lo being an expiring $18+ million contract is going to have value for some teams, right? So question is, obviously, what can you get, if any? There is an argument to just keep D'Lo, let his contract expire, let LeBron opt out of his contract, and then you kind of finagle the numbers in any way you need in order to bring in a marquee free agent or two or several, right? If you really want to kind of go the depth route, right? But point is that you have some flexibility with D'Angelo Russell either way. One of the big concerns, though, with D'Lo, and I know I did a player breakdown. This isn't a player breakdown. It's more of like D'Lo and what can we do as a team to kind of elevate D'Angelo Russell. Now, obviously, to help D'Lo himself is to help himself. And my hope is that you saw a clear progression between the first playoff run against Denver and this most recent playoff run against Denver. He was unplayable. I mean, he was giving you goose eggs every game the first go around. This game, he was good in like 2.5 to 3 of the 5 games, right? Which again is progress. D'Angelo Russell wasn't this perennial year in and year out playoff player, right? Like he was a guy that was not really in very many playoffs. He's only in 2 beforehand, right? So it's just like for him, how do you get more comfortable? How do you get more confident? You continue to be put in those situations. You continue to be put in those environments to where you start coming into your own. So my hope is that D'Lo just has this natural progression. But the best thing that the Lakers can do is to go get that third option, and now D'Lo's your fourth, right? Because look, D'Lo in the regular season has been money. Lakers have a very good record. They're like a 90% win team when D'Lo gives you 17 plus and he's just having his thing, right? He's doing his thing. I mean, the Lakers had only won 1 game last year without D'Angelo Russell. 1 game. And that was the game in which Spencer Dinwiddie did his best D'Lo impersonation and stepped in and played the D'Lo role and was over there willing and dealing and doing his thing, right? D'Lo is very important and valuable to this team. And he's our best shooter at volume. He's our second best playmaker. There are a lot of good with D'Angelo Russell. And I know I've talked a lot about D'Lo lately between this channel and then AS the Lakers show, but it's because he is going to be such a huge piece until we trade him, if we trade him. And we need the best version possible of D'Angelo Russell, in particular this season. But if you can go get that Jeremy Grant, or, whatever, Cam Johnson, somebody that can slot in and be your bona fide third guy, and now D'Lo's your fourth, because of his ability to be a playmaker, because of his ability to shoot so well off ball and at volume, right? It takes so much pressure off of D'Lo, but it also raises the upside for D'Lo. So you're kind of getting both ways, because now if D'Lo's hot and cooking and gives you 17, you're never losing those games. Right? You're just not. Right? Unless, Anthony Davis or LeBron James. But if Anthony Davis and LeBron James show up and play and do their job as they're going to do 99.99% of the time, and that third guy does even half of his job, and D'Lo does his job, then you're going to win, if not all the games. Right? But the games where D'Lo is kind of, poo-poo in the bed, if you have that consistent third guy, well, then D'Lo now isn't as impactful on the losses as he is right now, where, if D'Lo doesn't show up to play, unless Reeves has like a superb game, or Rui comes out of left field, or somebody else kind of comes out of left field, then the Lakers are going to lose more times than not, right? But if D'Lo, who again could still probably go get you 15 to 17 points a game, even as the fourth option, because he's been so efficient, because he shoots such a great volume. If he can go and average that as like your fourth guy, and you can bring in that bona fide third guy, then now you're in good shape, right? The other option would be like Rui kind of takes the next step under JJ Redick, or maybe Austin Reeves kind of takes the next step in that leap, because Austin Reeves has shown he's more comfortable in the higher pressure situations, right? So there is always the possibility that maybe JJ Redick can kind of get Austin Reeves back to being the Austin Reeves the previous year, not last year. If he can kind of get back to that, then yes, I think D'Lo, the pressure won't be there as much, right? If you can pull something off and still maintain and keep D'Lo, right? Again, like let's say you do Rui, Gabe Vincent, and Cam Reddish for, Jeremy Grant. Right, it's why a lot of people are like, like, what am I missing on Jeremy Grant? Like, why do you want Jeremy Grant so bad? One, he's just a better natural three. Two, he's a better defender than Rui Hachimura. And then three, he immediately becomes the third best player on the Lakers. And he becomes immediately the third option, which now drops down the pecking order. Right? So now Jeremy Grant steps into that third role. D'Angelo Russell moves into that fourth, and Austin Reeves moves into that fifth. So now if Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell are giving you 15 a game each, not collectively, 30 points collectively. No, if they're giving you 15 each, Jeremy Grant's able to be that 17 point a game guy scorer. Well, then now, again, it just drops down. But it raises the ceiling, because now the guy who you were counting on game in and game out, problem with D'Lo is the lack of consistency in the high pressure moments, in the big stages, right? Such as the playoffs. Regular season, none of us are worried about D'Lo in the regular season. Even the guys that hate and can't stand D'Lo, they're not worried about D'Lo in the regular season. Everyone knows what D'Lo is going to bring for the 82 games or however many games he plays, 70 games, whatever he plays, right? It's when we get to the playoffs, what does he look like? But again, now you're taking pressure off of him by going and getting that third guy. Now, D'Lo kind of fit in, get more comfortable. And now maybe you have a combination of two things. Now you have the combination of obviously the trade and D'Lo's pressure dropping, but also just D'Lo, as I mentioned earlier, kind of going into another playoff run, going into another high pressure situation, which he can get more comfortable in. He can kind of brace himself. Right? And also, how much of it is just Denver? Right? Like, you see guys that, like, whenever they play a specific player, they play a specific team, they're no-shows, right? It happens all the time. It's crazy, but it does, right? Like, people forget, D'Lo saved us, single-handedly saved us in the Grizzlies series. And then game 3, right, when Austin Reeves was poo-pooing the bed and was getting, just bullied by Clay and all that stuff, and it was not looking too good, and then D'Lo had that third quarter out of the halftime, and just, I think he had, 12 straight points, something like that, 12 points in that quarter. And again, like, D'Lo looked great in those first two series. There's that Denver series where Bruce Brown just punked him, took him out of his game, got into his mental, all right? And then the idea was like, okay, Bruce Brown's gone. D'Lo should get more comfortable. D'Lo should get back into the swing of things. D'Lo should start feeling good again. And it just never happened, right? Like, I mean, he was better, right? Like I mentioned, he was good in 2.5, 3 games out of the 5. Like, that's improvement. That's right. It's better to go. He went from 0 of 4 to, 50, 60%, right? Like, that's good. That's not like, that's a huge stride to go from basically a 0% to 50, 60%. Now, can he go from, 50, 60% to like 80%, right? Can he pull a James Harden where, like in two of the games, he's probably going to win you the game by himself. The other games, he'll be able to contribute a little bit, but you're going to have to win it without him, right? Like that kind of thing. Can D'Angelo Russell be a guy that consistently help put some W's on the board in the playoffs, right? I believe he can. I believe he'll just have the natural progression, get more comfortable. But I also think if you can get that third guy, right, and then you add in, Reeves hopefully being more consistent under JJ Redick in his system, plus he's getting a year of rest rather than, he went from deep playoff run to FIBA or to training camp to preseason or regular season. Now kind of took playing a lot of golf and stuff like that, hanging out with his girl. Go on with your bad self. I am mad at you, but basketball time, right? If he can kind of get back into the swing of things, he can kind of get to, even a closer version of himself the previous year. Right, Brandon, or if Rui can take those strides again. However you got to do it, if you can get D'Lo to become the fourth guy, again, maybe Max Christie or Dalton Connect or somebody. Right? If somebody else can emerge through whoever's currently on the roster or via a trade, and then you add in D'Lo, now the Lakers are cooking. Now they're cooking with fire. And now we actually have a real chance at contending and winning a championship. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you think, yes, D'Lo, he's got to be your fourth option. If you can make him your fourth option, then you have a real chance of winning a championship. That way you don't have to get rid of D'Lo. Do it through a trade, or you can do it through, just somebody, Rui or somebody kind of taking that next step, taking that next leap. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.